All right, and we are live from Pace Studio in Atlanta, Georgia with Kitchen Dwellers. Hey, y'all, thanks so much for being here this afternoon. Coming off a show in Greensboro, and now you're here in town tonight at Smith's Old Bar. So thanks for making a stop here before sound check. We'll talk a little bit more in between the upcoming music, but let's get right into it. Why don't you tell us a little bit about the first song?
This first track is it's the title track off of our upcoming album. It's called the Maid. That's as in John Muir. It was the name of my dad's boat that he lived on in the 70s and 80s out in the Northwest. He took it between Seattle and Southeast Alaska several times up through the Inside Passage. And the song kind of tells a tale of how he took that boat and also a sister ship of that boat back and forth in a couple harrowing events through Queen Charlotte Sound and the neighboring areas.
Very cool. All right, let's hear it.
Sensible opinion with the visual answer I saw within my sleep. 40 years ago in the summer where we found ourselves to be, we took to the north, wondering where the apathy had gone. Queen Charlotte scared us straight into that stupor we called home. Bottled up our fears by kerosene with emotions left outside. Those are weeks we spent in Tracy Arm in the coves where we could hide. Bioluminescence in her wake and in your eyes. That passage was the road for us and the tears we hid inside. Ford's terror wasn't quite what they made it out to be. That Perkins pushed on through the crazy riptide. And the elegy was strong, and that stove was nice and warm, anchored in that silent midnight air on the Maid. Ship, a favor for a friend ain't as much as it was way back then. But Rhiannon wasn't quite the ship that the Maid was built to be. Yeah, she gave us hell, though we treated her well when she tested you and me. And we left from a port near Anacortes when shit started hitting the fan. That engine bell was a damn nightmare, you could barely reach your hand. But the plumb bow carried twice the fuel for a boat that's near size. So we headed out to the Strait of Georgia before the morning light. Ford's terror wasn't quite what they made it out to be. That Perkins pushed on through the crazy riptide. And the elegy was strong, and that stove was nice and warm, anchored in that silent midnight air on the Maid. Ford's terror wasn't quite what they made it out to be. That Ford Lehman diesel left us high and dry, but the LG was strong and that stove was nice and warm, anchored in that whipping northwest air. And Ford's terror wasn't quite what they made it out to be. That Perkins pushed on through the crazy red tide, and the LG was strong and that stove was nice and warm, anchored in that silent midnight air. As you took control of the captain's chair, and I still hear that flag whipping through the air on the Muir Maid.
Thank you.
Right on, right on. Sounds fantastic, you all. Hope it's feeling good to be here. Awesome. Yeah, we really, really, truly appreciate you all making this stop.
Yeah, thanks for having us.
Yeah. So that that song we just heard is not only a song, but also the title track from an album that is about to come out very soon. That's got to feel good. Congratulations to you on that.
Thank you.
That was, you did a little bit of work on that, or a lot of work on that, I should say, with Chris from the infamous String Dusters, who we always love having that band or anybody from that band in the shop. We've had some good hangs over the years, so it's nice to know that there's a connection there.
Yes.
How did that connection come about, and what type of... I heard there's a Panda effect, and I would love to hear about this phenomenon that happens when working with Chris. So,
Well,
I think Max came up with that term.
well, yeah, he came with it. It all started. We just kind of, we'd been talking about who we wanted to produce the record, and we just, we kind of had talked about, kind of landed on Panda, and just kind of based on what he likes to do on the side and how he likes to take bluegrass to another place, and then I think I just messaged him on Facebook one day, and then we met up at Blue Ox Festival and talked about it, and then the relationship carried on. But as we started working with him, we noticed that just this massive knowledge that just comes off of him musically and worldly, and you just kind of soak it up. It's almost like sleeping with the textbook under your pillow in a way, and that's kind of what the Panda effect is.
yeah, so originally observed by Garfield, I believe, the osmosis learning situation. But yes, but now it is the Panda effect, and I love that term. We're super happy for you that album is about to be out in the world. Max, Torin, Joe, Sean, you guys are the best, and I cannot wait to hear the next song. Why don't you tell us a little bit about what we're going to hear next?
This next song is called Broken Cage, and I wrote it when we were recording our last album, actually, with Andy Thorne, and I kind of just like sat down and wrote it all in one sitting. It was one of those, like, sometimes you really got to fight for it to get the right words out and come across in the way you want to, but that was one of those that just kind of all came together really quickly in my mind. And I was having a rough day. I don't know if I've really told anybody, but I was having a pretty terrible day, actually. And I just had some things going on at home and missing people and whatnot, and that's kind of what the song's about. The song's about being on the road and dealing with the big parallels between playing for people on the road and then things happening at home. Very, like, real life stuff is happening back home, and
Right.
but it's also told. It's told partially from the perspective of like an old cowboy on the trail. Because I grew up on a ranch in Montana. My family is all farmers and ranchers, and my dad's a cowboy artist, and we listened to a ton of cowboy music and country music growing up. So it was kind of taken from that perspective, kind of paying tribute to that. So
Yeah, that is a timeless form of American storytelling and storytelling in general. But
Yes.
yeah, can't wait to hear it.
things that make me lonely, to keep my mother up at night and make my loved ones worry about the path I chose in our fragile mental state. And they're all worried I might snap, and they're wondering if I'm crazy. Been the one to lie awake at night. Nowadays in bed when my mind starts to unwind, thinking about the months ahead and all my love is searched for. And I'm worried that I'm losing all the things that I have worked for. And roll me slowly, roll me fast against the waves. We're headed east, and I carry my lonely heart in a broken cage. At times it takes a little whiskey, 'cause out here on the trail it's all pretty painted ladies who climb up on your knee and they'll ask for every story to make you forget about the bloodshed and the glory. And roll me slowly, roll me fast against the waves. All married, having babies, crawl inside my head, and I start believing maybe there's better ways to do this. Can't remember your birthday, but I'll name every dive bar from here to Missouri. Roll me slowly, roll me fast against the waves, because we're headed east, and I carry my lonely heart in a broken cage. I want a big white line going up in my head, and I'll stop wanting to be something that is different now and then. Living 42 lifetimes alone in my head. Am I drowning in this sorrow, or maybe I am dead? Thank you.
All right. Nice. Definitely feeling it all. You guys are putting it out there so well. I love it. It sounds fantastic. And
Thank you.
Yeah, on behalf of everybody here and on the internet, sounded great. So you've been how long has the tour run been this time around?
This is our This is the end of our 4th week.
Okay, and then how many more to go?
We have 1 week left.
Got it.
After this.
Got it.
Yeah, and we'll kind of close it down with we're going up to Denver. We'll do 2 nights in Denver. That'll sort of be like a preemptive album release party
Okay.
of sorts.
Right.
And then we're actually running back down. We're closing out Hillberry Festival at the end of next weekend before we head home. So
Gotcha. Yeah. When is that Denver date?
those are the
October 10th and 11th.
10th and 11th.
Okay, so just still about a couple weeks from the album hitting the world.
Yes.
Yeah, which is super exciting. Well, 5 weeks isn't too bad. Along that way, I'm sure you've had plenty of adventures. We were talking about one earlier.
Yes.
I don't think I can even really lay this up any better than tell me how you found a gun in your hotel room on accident.
Last night, we checked into our hotel room on the way in between Greensboro and Atlanta, and we checked in pretty late. It was 1:30 in the morning, and I was brushing my teeth, and I looked up at the cabinet up there, and I was like, "Hey, Torrin, is that?" And at the same time, he goes, "A gun?" And so at that point, yeah, it was just kind of like, that's definitely a first. The owner of the gun ended up showing up to reclaim it just a couple hours later. But that was probably the most interesting thing I've ever found in a hotel room.
Yeah, and seeing as how it was like 2:00 in the morning at that point, and we had to be up early, to get here, and we had a big day in Atlanta today, and still some driving to do. We just decided to not say anything about it until the next morning when we woke up, because we didn't want to risk not being able to sleep all night.
Yeah, we'd have to talk to the cops all night. Just a lot of paperwork.
Yeah, and
Oh,
so
yeah,
we just
fully.
went to bed. We bedded the gun down, and
You tucked it in?
Yeah. No, we didn't touch
Now
it
you
at
can
all.
say
Oh,
that you sleep
okay,
in
okay,
I
bed.
stared at it most of the night, though.
I misunderstood that, but I'm glad I did.
It very quickly became the largest item in the room.
Yeah.
An elephant to be sure. But worthy of mentioning, the fellow who reclaimed the gun did it very responsibly. With the police had been notified, and
Yeah, actually,
he didn't just show up banging on your door at 4 in the
police
morning,
officer.
with
No.
another gun, asking. Yeah, which is good.
And he was kind of like he was a grandpa type character. He wasn't too threatening of an individual. At
He
least
probably didn't need to be carrying a gun around all the time if he's just leaving them around all willy nilly.
Yeah, I don't think, and I'm I don't want to sound like an ageist, but if you're forgetful, that kind of thing happens to folks. Maybe that is not the best item to be traveling with if you are finding yourself in a forgetful state.
Yes.
Well, I'm glad you're safe, and I hope that
Thank
you
you.
continue to be safe for the last week or so and change of tour. That is definitely, yeah. I normally we get to this part about talking about tour, and we'll talk about fast food and food deserts and things like that. But this is way beyond that, and there's no duplicating or creating that story. So I'm glad. Thank you for sharing that. And
Yeah,
again, yes, I'm
absolutely.
glad we're all safe here.
Yes.
So awesome. Smith's Old Bar tonight, Atlanta, Georgia. If you're here in Atlanta tuning into this right now, don't sleep on that show. We got one more song for our little show here at Pace Magazine. And I'd love to hear what it's about and where it comes from and all that kind of stuff.
This song is called Shadows, and I wrote this a little while ago, a good deal of time before the album came out. But I wrote it in observance to kind of this crisis with the opioid epidemic going on in our country, and just upon witnessing people that I know and also other places that I've been in the country, I just said, hey, this is really bad. So I wrote a fictional tale based around a story around 3 people who are struggling very hard, and it comes out as the song Shadows, and I hope that people can take it to heart, and we can all open our eyes a little bit, hopefully.
Absolutely.
She cracked me a smile and told me I'm not to blame. But those dark and stormy skies reflected in your eyes and always bring me back to those tiny little lies that you told me that kept him safe. Now you put your hands together and pray like it's mass. It's only 30 days until he gets another pass, but he blamed me and left you crying for when the band she calls her screaming. She's here to take one more away for the time of leaving. And go snow, the God-kissed shadows, starting with your eyes and naked till your mind lay fallow. While the soldier sings a song in the middle of the night, the singer goes out, gets drunk and starts a fight that he loses, picks his teeth up off the street. Now there's a needle on the table and a bottle by his bed, and I listen to the words that echo in his head, and he told me why he's going away. While it's dark inside the gloom, the one he calls his room, in hell this ain't a home, while he's making it a tomb. So he asked me, we can leave tonight, for when the band she calls her screaming. She's here to take one more away for the time of leaving. And go snow, the God-kissed shadows, starting with your eyes and dig it till your mind lay fallow. So well, and I wait a little more for a knock upon my door, and a tiny little letter falls to hit the floor and tell me about the car. For when the band she calls her screaming. She's here to take one more away for the time of leaving. And go snow, shadows, starting with your eyes and naked till your mind lay fallow. And go snow, the God-kissed shadows, starting with your eyes and naked till your mind lay fallow. For it's starting with your eyes.
Totally awesome, you guys.
Thank you.
Yeah. What a great hang this afternoon. I hope you all make an opportunity in the future to stop back by here. I know you are literally welcome anytime. So
We'd love that.
Yeah,
Thank you for having us.
Yeah, thanks so much for having us. This is super cool.
Yeah, so if you're in Atlanta, Smith's Old Bar tonight. Don't sleep on the show. And where can we find out where you're going to be next on the internet? Not the TV version of the internet, but the printed internet.
Right. Yes. You can find us on our Facebook page or Instagram, and you can also find us at kitchendwellers.com, and that has all of our tour dates listed there.
Right on. Safe travels to the next destination, and all of the destinations listed on your website. Yeah, thanks again for coming through. It's been a real treat.
Thank you guys.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you, guys.
Cheers.